This is Chicken Philosophy, the Tao Te Ching, I can't pronounce things, part 4, in which I will pick up right where Edward left off in part 3. So what we're doing is we're reading 6 chapters, and those familiar with books might get the wrong idea. I think they're called chapters, but they're like, you know, the size of run-on sentences. Not even very long run-on sentences, like medium to low medium, below average length run-on sentences. Yeah, they're short, but I read them slowly, and then I talk about, free associate about, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, if you would like to start at the beginning of the Tao Te Ching series here on Chicken Philosophy, you can click right there. And if you would like to know why I'm talking so slowly right now, the answer is because I gotta put some space in between the links that I point to in the corner. So I can't just jump in and say, if you would like to start at the beginning of the white petal, you might have noticed this is the white petal. So it rotates, you know, and 1 out of every 15 of these things, it's going to be me. I'm the yellow petal, Frater BT. And the white petal right now is Tao Te Ching. But before that, it was the secret of the golden flower, which is Taoist alchemy, you might say. More specifically, it's Taoist alchemy with a little bit of Confucianism and Buddhism mixed in, but mostly it's 1930s Carl Jung pontificating about how you shouldn't be reading it. Or if you are reading it, you should be sitting back and stroking your beard, not taking advice or anything from it. Anyway, it's there. It's the secret of the golden flower, if you'd like to start with that. Anyway, yeah, it's a beautiful day. Lightly raining, or it was a minute ago. I think it still is, yeah. And, all right. So, here on Chicken Philosophy, there's a few things we do before we get to the substance, get to the point of the episode, and those things are the beverage. We'll do that first today. Today's beverage is some apple cinnamon tea. Apple cinnamon happens to be one of my top 8 favorite flavors of Cheerios. But that's neither here nor there. Here's a tea bag similar to am I like over caffeinated? I'm like shaking over here. Yeah, so this is what we're drinking. Let's see how it is. I've never tasted it before that I know of. All right, it's fine. And for the incense today, we're going to go with this. It says holistic natural incense, Buddha Loka. I thought it was going to say Buddha Aloha. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm all for fusion and syncretization. And it says here AJNA, which to the layman, I'm not saying they're lame. No. It might be like, oh, ajna. Is it ajna or ajna? No, it's probably something more like anya. The JN, when you're talking about things phonetically transliterated from Sanskrit, like JNANA, jnana, anyway. One time I was going on, one of my earlier podcasts, like 12 years ago, and I was talking about the chakras. And my dad, he taught me the chakras, but he always called it the third eye. If you didn't know, ajna, or anya, is the third eye. And I asked my friend Drew, like, how is this pronounced? And he's like, I think it's arnya. And so I very seriously went on and said, and this is your Arnya chakra, excuse me. Chakra is more of a, it's like a Frenchification of it. My dad always said chakra, so I got in the habit. But then I grew up and everybody's like, no, chakra, not chakra. Anyway, so that's going to be the incense for today. Now it's raining. It's properly raining. All right. How are you? You good? So we got third eye and apple cinnamon. It's a little different from the usual. Oh, wait. All right. That's the thumbnail. From the usual coffee. I usually just drink coffee here. I just wanted to be different, but not too different. So, I mean, it's just pretty different. I mean, the cup, it's not even a teacup. This is weird, isn't it? Oh, you might be wondering, what's with the rosary, BT?
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Remember Laurel and Hardy? Did you ever watch Laurel and Hardy? Stan Laurel being like, you know, I was thinking.
I was just thinking.
What about?
Nothing, I was just thinking.
Anyway, all right, so next we'll do the old I Ching, and in order to ensure that we're not getting a repeat from an earlier episode, we're using the cards rather than a coin. So let's get to it. Hope the music's good. I have no idea what music you're listening to, but no doubt you are listening to music. That's up to Editor Edwards. Say hello, Editor Edwards, or wave, whatever. And okay, so today's I Ching figure is going to be broken, solid, quadruple broken, and it's figure 7. So, Editor Edward, if you would please turn up the volume on the music while I look that one up. All right. So, our guiding principle for today. She, S-H-I-H, she, the army. In times of war, it is desirable to be led by a cautious and humane general. Unless, of course, you want to win the war. We talked about that a little bit yesterday or the day before on the Martin Luther part, whatever that was, about the difference between when things are applied on a massive scale, like how does society behave in a way that's to the benefit of the most maximum of people under a certain way of thinking, as opposed to, you know, what's it like for the individual, and which question is more important. Obviously, when you're talking in a Darwinian sense, and there's competing philosophies and competing economic, whatever different things going on a globe, and everybody's playing Risk. Do people still play Risk?
I don't know how to play Risk.
Then you could say it's more important the macrocosmic effect of a philosophy, a way of thinking, or a way of life. The end. That's the end of that statement. I mean, you know, when you're operating, let's bring up the Tree of Life. When you're operating down here in the bottom of the black part of Malkut, then that's how that works. That's yeah. The Nag Hammadi's been a little bit interesting. It's been getting a little bit interesting, talking about the lowest order, that there's 3 orders of beingness or something, and that the bottom, it's the printer, the electricity turned off and on again. And for some reason the printer's plugged in, because I had to print out something, an application, and sign it. Anyway. Right. So the demiurge is the word. I mean, we assume from John that that's Jesus, but there's other, you know, the logos, but maybe it's a different logos. It seems like it has a different character. It's like, when... It's like the difference between the Zack Snyder or Schneider, anyway, it doesn't matter. Superman versus like, Christopher Reeve Superman. It's like they're wearing the same outfit, they have the same name, but they're clearly not the same guy. The same can be said about the Word with a capital W in the Tripartite Tractate and the Word with a capital W in the Gospel of John. Right? Am I right? Anyway, the Tripartite Tractate one. Like imagined, visualized, remembered, or thought about, the actual God the Father and his thought, his God the Father thought, became an entity, and that's the demiurge. That's interesting. It's nice to get kind of a clear backstory for the thing I've heard so much about. And it rules over the bottommost world where everybody's fucked, basically. Everybody's lusting for power, and they're all managing each other. Everybody has a manager, a supervisor, and a vice president, a senior executive vice president, a CEO, and a president, and a governor, and everybody's exercising dominion over smaller and smaller, depending on the level, groups of people, and there's evil there and temptation, and it's all supposed to serve some kind of purpose, but it all goes on in its specific place. Like my example of the base of the bottom of Malkuth, where you don't want a general who's humane and cautious. You want one who wins the war, right? I don't know. Interesting, maybe. I don't know. Just free associating. So, the army. That's our guide. Let us, and since Tao Te Ching is written for a king, and with the benefit of like history and all these different examples of history and histories and looking at the world today, we can kind of raise an eyebrow and go, is this really the best way to be a king? Like maybe for the king. That's the thing. It's like I think that this is like maybe useful advice for like one person who suffers from anxiety and the world being on their shoulders telling them, hey man, come on, just let it go, man. Just like let it all flow through you, and it's all good, baby, like it's cool. It's cool. Just let things happen. Like, okay, if somebody has money and they're not in a position of authority, then maybe that's good advice, you know what I mean? But if somebody, okay, or not, I don't know. There's like the path of the wandering sadhu of various kinds, where it's like certain advice is useful either if you've gone out the top or out the bottom, either if you don't have to worry about money for the rest of your life, or you have decided that you're okay with eating an orange peel for the day, and you're just gonna like wear a tattered robe and wander and disavow the material world and sit under a tree and transcend. But if you're anywhere in between, if you're like trying in the world, if you've got to hustle, if you've got to do this, if you've got to get up and go to work, then again, the tree of life, like we move around on the tree of life as we go throughout our day. Perhaps in deep sleep we're way the heck out the top of it, and during our lunch break, we can kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's of assistance to be able to move up and down. Getting stuck isn't good unless it's temporary. You can get stuck on purpose. You can get stuck accidentally. You can get stuck because you think you're supposed to. You can get stuck because you got locked into something. Anyway, since we're only reading 6 of these, I feel extra free to... I wasn't even sure. I was like, before when I was setting this up and before I hit record, I was like, I don't have any thoughts. This is going to be short. This is going to be 8 minutes of me reading, and then no thoughts. I didn't even know. I had no idea that I was going to have things to say. That's fun. It's always fun to be surprised by silly things. All right. Editor Edward, music. Here we go. Today's reading. Chapter 19. Drop wisdom. Abandon cleverness. And the people will be benefited 100-fold. Now, based on context, I can pretty safely bet that drop wisdom doesn't mean like, yeah, drop some wisdom on their ass. You know, like he's out here dropping wisdom. No, like drop it. Just drop it. Like, forget it. Stop trying for this thing that you think of as being wisdom. Just drop it. Drop wisdom, abandon cleverness, and the people will be benefited 100-fold. Drop humanity, abandon justice, and the people will return to their natural affections. Drop shrewdness, abandon sharpness, and robbers and thieves will cease to be. These three are the crisscross of Tao, and are not sufficient in themselves. Therefore, they should be subordinated to a higher principle. See the simple and embrace the primal. Diminish the self and curb the desires. 20. Have done with learning, and you will have no more vexation. How great is the difference between and o? What is the distinction between good and evil? Must I fear what others fear? What abysmal nonsense this is! All men are joyous and beaming, as though feasting upon a sacrificial ox, as though mounting the spring terrace. I alone am placid and give no sign, like a babe which has not yet smiled. I alone am forlorn, as one who has no home to return to. All men have enough to spare. I alone appear to possess nothing. What a fool I am! What a muddled mind I have! All men are bright, bright. I alone am dim, dim. All men are sharp, sharp. I alone am mum, mum. M-U-M, Editor Edward. According to Oxford Languages Dictionary, it's informal British for mom. That's definition 1. Definition 2 is an adjective, not speaking or silent. Mum's the word. Is that related?
Mum.
Bland like the ocean. Aimless like the wafting gale. All men settle down in their grooves.
Get into the groove, boy, you got to prove you're to me. Yeah. Get up on your feet, yeah, step to the beat, boy, what will it be? Music can be such a revelation. Dancing around, you feel a sweet sensation.
folk. Go dance with Madonna. I alone am stubborn and remain outside.
It's happening outside. The music is outside. The music is outside.
Thank you, David Bowie. But wherein I am most different from others is in knowing to take sustenance from my mother. 21. It lies in the nature of grand virtue to follow the Tao and the Tao alone. Now, what is the Tao? It is something elusive and evasive and elusive, and yet it contains within itself a form. Elusive and evasive. And yet it contains within itself a substance, shadowy and dim. And yet it contains within itself a core of vitality. The core of vitality is very real. It contains within itself an unfailing serenity. Is that serenity? Just like that? No. Throughout the ages, its name has been preserved in order to recall the beginning of all things. How do I know the ways of all things at the beginning? By what is within me.
What? Do you want me to pull it out and show it to you?
Yes, Jerry, I would like you to do that. I want to see it. 22. Sorry, this one's a little sillier. Bend and you will be whole. No, wrong whole. This one's with the WH. Curl and you will be straight. Keep empty and you will be filled. That one made sense. Because if the wineskin's already got the old wine in it, then you can't. Grow old and you will be renewed. Have little and you will gain. How much of you will be confused?
Oh man, I have no idea what's going on.
Therefore, the sage embraces the one and becomes a pattern to all under heaven.
Patterns unfamiliar, patterns lead you through to patterns of discovery, tracing out the clues. Can you recognize the patterns that you find stuck in your mind?
Now that's a good song. Check that out in the description. Listen to the whole thing. Get the lyrics up on the screen and just trip the fuck out. That blew my mind when I was like 7. After I asked my mom what a pattern was, and then like grokked the idea of pattern as in a thing on a bed sheet, and then but that as a metaphor for stuff going on subconsciously or whatever, society. It's a good song. Devo. There's some smart cookies. He does not make a show of himself. Neither do I. Wait a minute. Hence he shines. I don't. Does not justify himself. Neither do I. I mean, like, maybe a little.
To justify my love.
Whenever justify comes up. Hence he becomes known. Does not boast of his ability. Hence he gets his credit. Does not brandish his success.
Great success.
Thank you, Borat. Hence he endures. Does not compete with anyone. Hence no one can compete with him. What game are we even playing? If you're the only one playing the game that you're playing, then you win and lose. Indeed, the ancient saying, quote, bend and you will remain whole, end quote, is no idle word. Nay, if you have really attained wholeness, everything will flock to you.
This is Network 23.
This is Network 23.
Just like that. If you divide 2 by 3, you get 0.666. Oh, 666666666. Oh, phew. I thought it was just 3 sixes. No, it's an infinite number of sixes. It's 2/3, dummy. They made a Jim Carrey movie about it. Anyway, only simple and quiet words will ripen of themselves. Let me try that one again. Only simple and quiet words will ripen of themselves. Is it ripe yet? Can I eat it? I'm sorry. No, really. For a whirlwind does not last a whole morning, nor does a sudden shower last a whole day. Who is their author? Heaven and earth? Even heaven and earth cannot make such violent things last long. How much, there's that planet, they got the telescope and everything, and now, before it was like, do you think there's planets around other stars? Maybe. That one's wobbling a little. Now they're like, okay, there's a planet right over there, and it rains fucking glass constantly. Anyway. How much truer is it of the rash endeavors of men? Oh, they can't last long? God willing. Hence, he who cultivates the Tao is one with the Tao. He who practices virtue is one with virtue. And he who courts after loss is one with loss. To be one with the Tao is to be a welcome accession to the Tao. To be one with virtue is to be a welcome accession to virtue. Editor Edward, remind me, I know I should know this. What is accession? Noun. 1. The attainment or acquisition of a position of rank or power. 2. A new item added to an existing collection of books, paintings, or artifacts. Thank you. Now it makes more sense. To be one with loss is to be a welcome accession to loss. Deficiency of faith on your part entails faithlessness on the part of others. Which part? 24. One can tiptoe, one on tiptoe cannot stand. One astride cannot walk. One who displays himself does not shine. One who justifies himself has no glory. One who boasts of his own ability has no merit. One who parades his own success will not endure. In Tao, these things are called, quote, unwanted food and extraneous growths, end quotes, which are loathed by all things. Hence, a man of Tao does not set his heart upon them. I mean, it's nice to contemplate in a vacuum if a person doesn't have much in the way of things to look at and think about. I mean, parts of it are like, okay, well, yes, you know, the ones who boast aren't the same as the ones that get admired, right? Gaston, right? Is that from Beauty and the Beast? But the other stuff about like, oh, just don't do anything and everything will work out fine is kind of, I mean, the world as it is today, it seems like there's no real example of a thing that can be done that will result in things being okay. So, yeah, this is, I mean, doing nothing is certainly not one of the things that makes everything okay, unless you're talking on a different level than the material. If it's just you in a dark room and no one's going to come take your dark room away from you, and you stop caring and stop trying, you'll probably feel better. Maybe. I don't know. Does a person need to have a thing that they do or that they strive toward in order to be a person? A lot of people seem to think that that's the case. Can you short circuit the system by striving for nothing? Is that more or less useful than striving for something? I don't know. And is usefulness the thing that we should be, and should? Usefulness, fuck that. Should, fuck that. Drop usefulness and should while you're dropping things like wisdom and all that other stuff he said to drop. Now, normally at this point I go back and look at individual parts, but I think this time I made facial expressions and played music and occasionally made commentary about what I was reading while I was reading it. I'm happy to say that I seem to be less respectful toward this text than I was in the beginning. So it's finding its place among the Martin Luthers and the Nag Hammadis and the Carl Jungs of chicken philosophy. It's not like, oh, up on a level, up all by itself somewhere. It's good. I mean, what is good and evil? Is it evil? No, I don't think so. I mean, I like it. It's like, different kinds of shapes, different kinds of stones, different kinds of statues, and considering the alternatives, considering the world of shapes and forms and statues, the Tao so far, what we've read of it and been able to comprehend. Of course, I'm not a scholar of all that. There's a thing, Editor Edward, what's that thing, the guy who was the Taoist sage who wrote a thing that the guy on TV was talking about? That would have been and I apologize in advance for this pronunciation, Zhuangzi? I'm sure it's like something else than that. That's how it's spelled in Roman letters. It used to be spelled like this, but not anymore. And it's written by Zhuang Zhou, or Master Zhuang, and sometime between 476 and 221 BC. That's kind of a large margin. But, okay. During the late Warring States period, so presumably closer to 221 BC. Yeah, I'm not going to read that on Chicken Philosophy, I don't think. I don't think I need to go that far down the rabbit hole of Taoism. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. But who knows? In the future, maybe that'll change. All right. Well, this was an episode. I don't know that it's supposed to go anywhere or do anything or resolve itself or have any particular specific kind of je ne sais quoi about it. I don't know what. That's what that means, if you didn't know. Je ne sais quoi. And so there it is. The episode is drawing to a close. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a wonderful life. I hope that happy hormones and dopamines and serotonin and all that good stuff, that you get to enjoy that when it's time to enjoy it, and that when that stuff isn't happening, that can be okay too. I hope for you the same as I hope for myself in the future, which is that you be all right and fine and content, at peace. I would say happy, but that seems like saying, I hope you get rich. I hope you get happy. I mean, happy, sure. If you define happiness as peace and contentment and lack of stress, except for the types of stress that in the end come to some kind of benefit, like you need to, if you're playing a video game or something, that you won't have any kind of joy at the end of if the game isn't stressful at times. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, there's a million bazillion different ways to live your life, to approach each moment, each day, and it's not one size fits all. So it's hard to come up with a wish, with a blessing, with an intention that isn't going to be unwanted by some folks. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you're still here and you haven't already, please do click like and subscribe. I'd like to see those numbers go up. And, next time it's going to be Edward reading Meccan Revelation. And last time it was, we did Buddhist books. Pymander read some of the Tipitaka. It's about robes and grave robbing. If you want to hear about monks stealing the clothes off of corpses and the rules about when and how they have to share the clothes that they stole from the corpses with the other monks, and the moment in which Jivaka Komarabaka convinces Lord Buddha to let the monks wear something besides clothes that they stole from corpses. If you want to learn or hear about all that, read directly to you from the English translation of the original Pali Canon, which means canon, of course. Pali is the word that means canon in the language that it's written in. Does that make sense? So in that ancient language, they have a word for canon, and that word is Pali. And so when they say the Pali language, that means the canon language. So when you say the Pali Canon, you're saying the canon.
Oh, can you do the can? If you can, then I can. I can. If you can, you can. Oh, we can do that.
Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I can do the can. Thank you for asking. So you got a rose and a cross. Huh? A rose and a cross. Huh? Never mind. All right. I think we're done here. Are we done here? We're done here. I'll put something up here, the Tipitaka with the thing and the clothes and the corpses. And down here, I'll put the entire Meccan Revelation playlist so that you can catch up. You don't necessarily have to start at the beginning if you don't want to. Just scroll through the playlist. It'll pop up on the right if you're on a PC. Otherwise, anyway, you can work it out. All right. Until next time.